Hey, it's your girl, Dana LaRae. We're gonna take it back to take it forward today. I remember when I was in high school, I started dating my second high school boyfriend. The first boyfriend I ever had in high school was a freshman like me. He was so sweet, he was so kind. We were just so giddy over each other, but needless to say, like every other kind of childish relationship, we found some way to be like, this isn't gonna work. My second high school boyfriend was older. He was a senior and I was a freshman. A little hot, huh? A little hot thing. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I remember me and him used to talk on the phone a lot, right? He's in my ear talking to me about different stuff. Like, he has a lot of age on me, obviously. Like, we're 4 grades apart. I remember he always had this super smooth way of talking, right? And everything he said sounds so good to my ears. I remember one day I was at home, I had just gotten out of school, and he called. He was like, what are you up to? And I was like, oh, I'm just at the house chilling. I was gonna start getting ready for the night. I was gonna make dinner, you know. He was like, oh, okay. He was like, who you there with? I'm like, I'm not here with anybody. I'm like, my grandma's still at work and my grandfather, he's with a client. Like, I think he's fixing someone's furnace today. And he was like, oh, okay. He was like, I'm gonna stop by. I was like, you gonna stop by where? He was like, I'm gonna stop by over there. And I'm like, okay, like, stop by for what? And he was just like, you know, just to get a kiss. Like, I miss you. And I was like, a kiss? Okay, whatever, stop by. So, didn't have no business telling that young man to come on and slide, right? But me being a young lady, liking to break the rules, thinking I'm big and grown and big and cool because I'm dating a senior and I'm a freshman, he comes over, I let him in, I'm like, hey, he's like, hey. I think I poured him something to drink and we're just talking. Of course, he's just flirting it up with me. And I hear this noise. It's my front door. I can hear someone kind of messing around with the keys. So I go into a panic. He goes into a panic. I'm like, okay, he ain't going out the front door. So for those of you that don't know my home, my childhood home, you hit the basement before you hit the front door. I'll open the basement door and I'm like, go down there, go down there. Like, I'm panicking because I'm like, I don't know who's at the front door. It could be either one of my grandparents that raised me. It could be, I don't know, my uncle dropping in. Like, we that kind of family. So he runs downstairs to the basement, right? The front door opens and lo and behold, it's my grandfather, the man that raised me, Grandpa Garnes. Whoo! My grandfather, God bless his soul, he always took one of our family dogs with him named Roxy. And Roxy, it's weird how we found Roxy. My auntie kind of dropped by with Roxy one day as a puppy, and we never really knew the breed of Roxy. Like, she looked like a fox almost. She was like a miniature dog with a very long snout with fangs almost. Very scary looking little dog, to be honest with you. But she hung tight with my grandpa. They were like this. So a lot of times when he'd go on service runs, because he owned his own business, he'd take his dog with him and wouldn't nobody care. You know what I mean? He wouldn't bring the dog in the house. I think the dog would just stay in his service van. So my grandpa walks in. I'm like, hey, Grandpa. He's like, hey, baby, you know, like, he says hi to me. And immediately, Roxy starts throwing a fit. So I'm looking down at the dog, and she's just barking her ass. Like, she's going crazy, right? And I'm like, I wish this dog would shut up. I wish this dog would shut up. It gets worse. Roxy goes over to the basement door, and she's sniffing, and she starts hysterically barking at it. Like, wanting to rip the door open almost. And my grandpa is looking at the dog and he look at me and he opens the basement door. So Roxy goes jetting downstairs because she's a fox. She's not even a dog. We got a fox living with us. And she goes through the entire basement until she finds the perpetrator. My grandfather goes downstairs. I'm too embarrassed. I'm just staying upstairs like, I don't even want to know what's about to happen. My grandfather goes downstairs, finds the dog, silences her. You could just hear him quiet. The dog gets quiet. All you hear is a little bit of conversation. My grandfather calls my name. He's like, I remember this like yesterday. He's like, Dana. And I'm like, yes, like just shaking, just don't even want to face myself. He's like, come downstairs. He's always calm. My grandfather's always calm. He's a Pisces. He never raises his voice. He never loses his cool. I walk over to my grandfather. He's standing in front of my boyfriend. He looks at me. He looks at him. My boyfriend is wearing a fake cringe. I'm just cringing thinking about it. A fake like chain that has a cross penman on it, like the rappers or something like that. He's wearing like 2 or 3 chains and they're all tangled together. He has the backwards hat on. He has the baggy pants, the varsity jacket, just ill. And I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with that fashion. It's just my grandfather doesn't even say much. He just touches one of my boyfriend's fake chains. He pops them in his face. And he's like, and this is the type of clown you bring into my house. He looked at him. He said, get out right now. My boyfriend scrambles to get out of that house before my grandpa choke him alive. We go upstairs and we never speak of it again. Now, I know a lot of y'all are probably thinking like, girl, you got off easy. First off, my grandpa never put his hands on me. But in that moment, I realized it's not about punishing somebody to this crazy extent like you think you should as a parent. My grandfather saying that one sentence changed my entire mindset around men. And if he was here today, I wish, well, he's here in spirit. I just want to thank him for saying something so small, but saying everything in that moment. And the reason why I say that is because, of course, the next day I broke up with that young man immediately. I walked up to him like, no, we can't never talk. Let's just act like nothing ever happened. Move about your business. And what's crazy is I remember dating him and always feeling so uncomfortable with this player persona that he had. But I always liked how sweet he was to me, not understanding that that's part of the finesse as a young lady. And I fully take responsibility in my part because, girl, you had no business having no young man in your house, and you had no business dating a young man that was, I'm not gonna blame it on his age, but the fact that I was thinking with all the wrong things. I'm leading with, I like him, he's older, he seems mature, he does nice things for me. Not looking at, he has a lot more intelligence in his mind on how he could spin things, play you. Like, I was just out of my league mentally. And that taught me a very valuable lesson at a very young age. I remember the embarrassment that was stewing from like my head to my toes when my grandpa said that sentence, because I thought to myself, like, I just brought shame to my whole family lineage by having this type of guy be my boyfriend. And like, just looking back on it, me and that boyfriend had no business together. He was trying to be a player. He was following, and I later found out, and this is the beauty of life, he was following the path that his father laid out for him. His father was not married. He played women. He was just very misogynistic. Asked me how I found out. I connected the dots afterwards, of course. And I just remember telling myself, I never, ever, ever put myself in a situation where I don't see a potential lover for who they are because of the small things that I like or the oblivious nature of love. And fast forward, using that knowledge, I had a call yesterday. This is such a interesting tie-in. I had a call yesterday, right? And it was from my ex. Now, me and him don't have a communication really. We don't really keep up with one another. He called me because prior to yesterday, I called him. I initiated conversation with him because I saw online, being too busy, that his family had recently gone through some major W's, and I just wanted to really call him, check in, and congratulate him because part of his family had moved to another state and they had been planning to do that for years. His mother recently got married. I was just so happy for them. And it made me want to call him just to say, like, I know we're not, quote unquote, in each other's lives like we used to be, but I see the big things that are happening for you and your family. And I just want to let you know I'm so happy for you. And within our conversation, we started talking about other things. Like one thing led to another. We're just reminiscing. It's like we know each other like the back of our hands, right? I remember getting off that call and immediately thinking to myself, like, wow, that's deep. Do you ever really stop loving somebody once you love them in that way? Because all these memories just flooded me. And I could tell he had the same temperament. But we ended the call and just was like, take care, But before we got off the call, he did say something interesting. He said, sometimes I sit back and I wish that me and you could have that up close relationship that my best friend has with his ex, where they're still really in each other's lives and they operate as good friends. And I'm like, before we hung up the phone, I'm like, I don't think that's appropriate for us. We're just not like them. We see each other completely different. I just said it like, I just put it on the table. I'm like, there's this obligation I feel to almost like taking care of you. Like when he was telling me stuff during the phone call about how he's been super grinding, super hustling, doing all these other things. The first thing I asked him is like, how's your diet? Have you been cooking? And he's like, no, I've been kind of eating out. Immediately the love I have taps in and I'm like, oh my God, somebody need to be feeding this baby. He not eating right. That's just the nature of who I am. I love to take care of people. It's not just a romantic thing. It's just that I like to see people comfortable. That's a gift of mine. I remember how inappropriate it felt for me to start having those feelings. When he said, I wish we could have that up close friendship. I'm like, no, we couldn't have it because this is how I am as a person. And he was like, yeah, I guess I see what you're saying. And we just ended the call, right? Now, right now we're going through a retrograde, which is interesting because they say in this retrograde that we're currently in, things from your past will present themselves to you. And it's kind of up to you to let go of those past feelings and thoughts and things that you want, but that really aren't of service to you. So after we had that talk, he called me back. And I had gone the last 2 days thinking about that conversation and how I was going in my mind and thinking to myself, like, are you still in love or what was that about? And should y'all be up close and personal? Then I was like, no, you shouldn't be, because stay down the journey that you got, mind your business. It's the past, leave it where it is. He calls me back the next day 2 days after we had that conversation. And he tells me like, hey, you know how I always had this delayed response to things and I don't have the words in the moment, but I have them days later? I'm like, yeah, that's been you since I met you. He's like, good. He's like, I want to commend you, for yesterday because you're always on to something. You always had this understanding that superseded my ability to see what you're talking about in the moment. But I soon understand later what you meant. And I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? And he's just like, you remember how you told me and you couldn't be friends like my best friend and his ex-girlfriend were? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you're right. And I'm going to go straight to the point here. We couldn't be friends because we still love each other. And that's very apparent. If I stepped into your life in any capacity, you would try to take care of me. And I would try to take care of you. I would try to meet anything that you needed in any space that you didn't have it. And you would try to take care of my health. And we would just go down these paths that don't make sense. We've already been here. We've already had this decision to make. And we've made it incorrectly, which has kept us in a bond that doesn't serve either one of us. And I got quiet because it was such a profound, mature moment. And I thought back to how when my grandfather caught that young man in his house, in his basement, how I had graduated from such a childish way of viewing men and childish bonds and just drama to this elevated version of a pure reflection of me that I'm so proud of. I was so proud to have such a mature man on my phone telling me, like, I love you, and love looks like not being in your life, and we're not meant to be together. And I'm so grateful that you said that out loud, and I don't need to pretend like I can be your friend when I can't, and you probably wouldn't want that either. And in that moment, I realized, like, thank God I got that lesson so young to really think in my mind, like, if I'm going to love and date somebody romantically, would my grandfather be proud of this choice? Would I be proud of this choice? Is this the type of man I want in my life? And having that phone conversation with my ex made me realize, like, you're doing the right things. You're on the path. You're in the right mind space as it pertains to who and what that will look like as far as a partner, but that still doesn't mean that you're there yet. Me and him were like, well, this was good. This was mature of us. We beat another level. It's a retrograde. It's trying to trick us. We can see it. We're not going to be together, even though there's nothing wrong with either one of us. He's not the problem. I'm not the problem. My sibling put it in a way that made it very clear. My sibling said, after I told them about the experience, you and him have very specific paths to walk. You're going this direction. He's going this direction. When you came together, it created a jungle in front of the two of you. And for years, you sliced through that jungle together. And you wanted each other, and you wanted the situation to work so much that you were willing to come off of those separate paths to struggle through that jungle. And now you all can see with a clear eyes view that you love each other, but these paths will forever be separate. And it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you all. It doesn't mean that you all should try again. It means that you should accept what is. So this video in particular is a video rooted in release. And I'm so thankful that, God bless his soul, my grandfather was able to carve out in my mind what and how I want love to be on this physical plane with that example. And more importantly, now I have something to build off because I know that I'm operating in the right function, but even still, it doesn't mean that it's where you're supposed to be. I hope somebody got something from that. Once you master one level, you release what should have never been there, and you get to a level where you find something that you love, but it's still not it, just keep going. Just keep going. Anybody that was supposed to hear this, I'm so grateful for you. I'm so thankful for you. Hope you enjoyed the message. Love and light to you all. Love and light to my grandfather, who I know is watching this or hearing this and is like, thank God my baby got it and didn't have to learn the hard way. But until next time, take care of yourself, take care of each other. I love you. Peace.